Welcome to another Biz exclusive interview. I'm Lauren Hartzenberg, the retail news editor at Bizcommunity.com. Today we're talking about the AllFashion Sourcing event, which is going to be hosted online from the 3rd to the 5th of November next week. It's an annual event organized by Messe Frankfurt South Africa. This year it's being hosted completely online on a virtual platform due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It used to be known as the ATF Expo and Source Africa event, but it's been rebranded since then, and it's now AllFashion Sourcing. It's generally held in Cape Town, and we have AllFashion Sourcing show director Kathryn Frew with us today. We'll be just sharing a little bit more about the event and what attendees can look forward to this year. Welcome, Kathryn. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So just for our readers and listeners who aren't familiar with the event, especially since it's been rebranded, can you tell us a bit about it, what it aims to achieve, and who should be attending?
Perfect. So AllFashion Sourcing, we were meant to launch the new name this year. So we took over Source Africa and ATF 3 years ago. And this year we were meant to relaunch into the new name as AllFashion Sourcing, but obviously with COVID-19, that wasn't possible. But the brand and the event, it's basically a business-orientated marketplace. And it's for the textile, the leather, the footwear, home textile, and the fashion industries. And it combines African creativity, African design and manufacturing with also international sourcing options all under one roof. But this year, obviously taking it onto a virtual platform.
And of course, because of the pandemic, you couldn't have your physical event, so it's been shifted completely to a digital platform. Can you tell us what was the exhibitors' response to this, and also why did Messe Frankfurt decide to have it digitally instead of postponing until 2021?
So I think we all know that obviously the world has changed this year due to COVID-19. And one thing that we saw from the companies that we deal with is that everybody is trying to find a cost-effective manner in which to market their brands to a target audience of potential buyers. And we all know that nothing is quite the same as a face-to-face engagement at a physical exhibition, but we've all tried to adapt to the current circumstances to meet our business and our consumers' needs. And in order to do this and to continue supporting the apparel, the textile, footwear, leather, and fashion industries in Southern Africa and also internationally, we took AllFashion Sourcing onto this virtual platform. We wanted to ensure that the SMMEs and the local manufacturers in the industry still got exposure for their brands during these times. And the decision for us was to bridge that gap to allow them to get that exposure between our 2019 event and our 2021 event. The exhibitors' reaction, it's actually gone really well. We've got over 200 participating companies that are on the platform. Initially, I think the reaction of the companies was quite hesitant because virtual is a very new space for all of us. But once we took the exhibitors and any potential clients through the platform and let them view firsthand what they would be getting when they were onboarded onto the platform, I think their reactions turned from that hesitance to intrigue. And we firmly believe in the platform that we've selected. We went through 40 platforms before we chose the one that we have. And the biggest plus for us was that it had been tried and tested already in the industry. Our sister subsidiary in the United States ran a virtual event in July on exactly the same platform and got incredible results. So we're hoping, obviously, from the 3rd to the 5th of November to deliver the same unbelievable experience as what our sister subsidiary did.
So from what I've read, the platform sounds very interesting. There's actually a lot of room for networking opportunities, and you have all sorts of things like virtual showrooms for the exhibitors. Can you tell us about some of the tools and the features that attendees will have access to?
Yeah, absolutely. But let me first tell you that creating a virtual event, it's not an easy feat. It's not an easy undertaking for everybody. And the team that's been behind all of this has been absolutely incredible in putting it all together. The platform, it enhances the reach for exhibitors across Africa, actually globally. It's extremely cost effective because obviously you're mitigating the costs of travel and setting up a physical booth. The platform, it's got artificial intelligence matchmaking capabilities. So it links the relevant buyers to sellers automatically when you log on. And both visitors and exhibitors will obviously benefit when they log on, like I mentioned, because of this massive reduction in other costs. So, and a physical exhibition, you've normally got the travel, the accommodation, the booth costs, the marketing. None of that is needed on a virtual platform. It also allows the exhibitors to market their products and services in a much more cost-effective manner. And for continuity purposes, our platform is actually open for 6 months. So at a physical exhibition, you normally only have the 3 days or the 2 days. This platform will be open for 6 months to allow anybody from across the world to log on and hopefully connect with an exhibitor.
Okay, interesting. And aside from the fashion shows and all the virtual networking, also got quite an interesting seminar program lined up. I've been to previous events when it was ATF Expo, and it's always really interesting. You touch on topics like fashion trend forecasting, sustainability, and trade and investment solutions. Can you tell us about some of this year's speaker highlights?
What we've actually done is we haven't forfeited our content program at all, so we will still be running a full content program over the 3 days. Even though the 3 days, the 3rd to the 5th, we consider that our live event days, the content will also still be available the full 6 months on the platform. So if you miss a piece, you can always go back and watch it. And the lineup that we have this year is really incredible. So we still have the trend talks, and that's always been one of the biggest draw cards, is that we are having a women's wear and a men's wear trend talk by Nicola Cooper. We've got panel discussions. Some of them are on the state of the African textile and leather industries. We've got a panel discussion on AGOA, which is a very hot topic at the moment. And then we also have the announcement of our Young Designers competition, which I think I'm really looking forward to, because that was an incredible day that we spent shooting with the young designers, and we will be announcing the winner and showcasing the young designers. The winner who gets the trip to Paris and gets to showcase their collection at one of the biggest textile events in Europe.
Sounds amazing. And so you did touch on this earlier, but while many of us obviously miss the rich experience that physical face-to-face events offer, you do think that there are benefits to hosting digital events?
I absolutely do. I do believe in this virtual platform. I mean, I believe in the virtual events, and I think the biggest thing for me, especially during this time, is the cost effectiveness of being on a virtual platform. It's in no way any less stressful to set up. It's obviously, there's a lot of effort that goes into it from both the organizers and the exhibitors' perspective, but your brand on a virtual platform has so much more of a wider reach to an audience that you wouldn't normally be able to reach at a physical exhibition. And the one thing that I've definitely learned this year is that your engagement at a physical exhibition is normally very deep with a customer, whereas on a virtual platform, your engagement is very wide. So while you probably on a virtual platform, you're going to receive a lot of leads just by being on a virtual platform and by doing the artificial intelligence matchmaking and following up with clients potentially that you are matched with on the system. I think that at a physical exhibition, your engagement is normally much deeper and you guaranteed almost business straight away, whereas the virtual is a little bit more work, but you are almost guaranteed an increase in your database because of it. So yeah, the virtual I think is very wide engagement, but the physical I think is very deep.
And do you think that this pandemic will change the future of events indefinitely?
I want to say I hope not, but I think that it definitely will, unfortunately. We are already considering our 2021 event. We call it a hybrid event, where we still have the virtual space and we have the physical. I think, unfortunately, that this virus will be around for a lot longer than we all wished for. And we're just going to have to adapt and change with the times. I think, I've learned a lot from hosting a virtual exhibition this year. And the nice thing is that the learnings we've taken from this year, we can implement into a hybrid event for next year. So the biggest thing I think for us is that we've learned we can reach a much wider audience by doing virtual, and that's something I definitely don't want to give up going forward in all of our events. So the hybrid solution is definitely something that we will consider for 2021, especially getting international buyers and sourcing managers to log on and look at what our incredible SMEs and manufacturers here in South Africa are capable of.
I must say I've attended quite a lot of conferences during this lockdown, and it's nice because I've been able to attend conferences that I've never been able to visit, whether it was in Barcelona or the Middle East. So that's definitely an upside for me. And I just want to touch on Messe Frankfurt's interest in the textile industry. So the company has hosted about 53 or 58 trade fairs around the world. Can you just share a little bit about the company's interest in the textile and fashion industry, and also how important the AllFashion Sourcing event is in the context of the Messe Frankfurt business in Africa?
So Messe Frankfurt globally, I mean, it's a very old trade fair company. It's over 800 years old, believe it or not. So Messe Frankfurt as a trade fair company, it's very old and very established. But the textile sector of the company, our European events, obviously being in the fashion and textile capital of the world in Europe, it's something that they've grown from scratch. And we now have a network of brand ambassadors called our Texpertise network. And we, on almost a weekly basis, catch up with that team. They comprise of a group of people who've been in the industry for many years. They've worked in many different scenarios. So they've either been on the side of being a sourcing manager, or they've been in the manufacturing environment. And they advise the subsidiaries around the world on almost the trends that a lot of manufacturers or exhibitors are looking for. So they advise us on what type of categories we should be doing within our shows. They advise us from the other perspective what visitors are looking for. And we always go back to that Texpertise network, or that group of people, to help us. And I think that's obviously the interest where it came into South Africa. The two events that we brought over, ATF and Source Africa, were already very well established. But with our connections into our other subsidiaries and into that Texpertise network, obviously we knew we could grow it. The textile industry, I think, in Southern Africa has taken a massive dip in previous years. And we know that the government is obviously intervening with this master plan that everybody's been talking about on how they can get it to where it was previously. And we with obviously the help of the local associations here and the government, and with our Texpertise network, are trying to assist in showing our support for this industry, and obviously trying to grow it and support it as much as we can. We do have another event on the African continent that Messe Frankfurt as a whole is involved in, but there were no other big textile events in Southern Africa. So that's why Messe Frankfurt decided to get involved and to purchase the events, so that they knew that they could support it with this knowledge of the Texpertise network.
And to conclude, why do you, in your personal opinion, think it's important for people working within the fashion and textile industry to connect with each other right now, even if because of the pandemic they can't be in the same room?
So I think right now, I mean, the push towards buying local, as I mentioned just now, it's something that everybody is talking about, and it couldn't be a better time for anybody who's obviously pushing that buy towards local to try and source from proudly South African companies. And I mean, what a better way to find local companies than from the comfort of your own home? So you don't even have to get into a physical exhibition. You can log on to a virtual platform and look what's out there. I think a lot of companies in South Africa also, we don't manufacture everything that's needed by our retailers. So with this virtual platform, we're almost bringing the international and local markets to the local buyer. So I think on this space and within this virtual platform, I mean, it's so important, like I mentioned just now, to continue getting our local companies that exposure. through a platform like this and through other interventions, just so that we don't see the textile industry taking another dip like it did previously. And hopefully through systems like ours and through some of the things that the government is implementing, like the master plan, we can support these local guys. I mean, we've got some incredible designers in this country who are doing incredible things overseas as well. And my only hope is that through our event, we can help these kind of companies to become more established, and also to teach them through our content on what's available to them, through systems like AGOA, through the trend forecasts that they can obviously log on, they can view what's available for them, and they can potentially be connected to buyers all around the world. And if it's not around the world, then within Africa. We've managed very successfully to grow the database of this event over the 3 years that we've had it, and we really are hoping that we can get everybody onto the platform next week, and we can get everybody the support that's needed during this really, really weird time that we're all currently living through.
Absolutely. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best for the event next week.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So just to recap, the AllFashion Sourcing event will take place from the 3rd to the 5th of November next week. Registration is now open and the event is free to attend.